We were just evacuated from our cabins. A mandatory
Tucson
evacuation.
resident heading the movement here on chemtrails. And they're spraying barium and aluminum powder. Signs around town that tell you to Google what's in the sky or what are they.
The Forest Service did some initial attack efforts, mostly by aviation assets, helicopters, and air tankers. The area is very full of heavy, deadened down material left over from the bullet fire in 2002. Along with the robust monsoon seasons we've had in the last 3 years, there was a heavy grass crop and a very heavy brush crop in the area. So that made it very difficult for us to get firefighters in close on the initial attack when the fire was very small. In order to put folks in there, it would have been very high risk to our firefighters to have them on the ground. We always want a place for our firefighters to be able to escape from a fire as conditions change. We did not have good escape routes or safety zones within those first few days. So within the first few days, we used aviation assets. We did put a bunch of retardant from fixed-wing airplanes and water drops from large helicopters in the fire area, like I said, right here in the Burro Springs. Most of that effort was highly resistant to control by the fire, and the fire continued to grow. The forest put in place a larger incident management team, a Type 3 incident management team. They came up with a plan to protect the values at risk, which were most of the residences and ranches here around the southeast side of the fire. Those efforts have been successful thus far. As the fire continued to grow and the threats began to move up into the areas on the upper parts of the Santa Catalina Ranger District or Mountain Range, a Type 1 incident management team was brought in, and that was us. So for today, last night the fire made a pretty big push on the north end here up towards Evan Mountain. Most of that activity today is slowed down and it's topped out on a ridge system up here, and not a lot of activity is continuing there. We have not put any air resources on the north end today, just due to the limited fire activity. Now yesterday, we did use large air tankers to paint retardant here on the very western portion of the fire. The closest portion to the road is right in here. It's about a mile from the switchback here. And it's also about 1.5 miles from the community in here. It's about 3.5 miles from Mount Bigelow, to give you a sense of how close the fire is there. Most of that activity with the retardant from yesterday has been held up. It hasn't moved very much today. There's still smoke coming out of that area. I flew it at about 3 o'clock, and most of that area of the fire was fairly quiet. Overall tonight, we do have a few thunder cells that are to the east of the fire, and with the winds that are generated from those thunder cells, most of the smoke and activity has been here along the southern boundary of the fire. That southern area, we are working with heavy air tankers and heavy helicopters and 2 hotshot crews currently at the Burro Ranch area, and we're looking to hold it along the road here to prevent continued spread to the south. The Burro Ranch Road is our primary containment line, and our secondary containment line is the Reddington Pass Road. Overall, we feel really good that we will be successful in that area tonight and limit that growth to the south. In the coming days, we're going to continue preparation work along the Catalina Highway and around the structures that are along Mt.Lemmon and up into Summer Haven, along with all the infrastructure of the towers and observatories. So we have many crews and engines that are up in those areas today. We anticipate 2 more days of work to complete that preparation activity, and then we'll be continuing to monitor the fire and develop plans of how we can engage the fire. So overall, that entire northeast face of the mountain after the bullet fire is still full of lots of heavy deadened down material, that same large crop of grass and brush, and there's nowhere for our firefighters to go. So at this point, most of the northern progression of the fire, we will monitor by air and develop plans for if the fire begins to move up towards all the infrastructure on Mt.Lemmon. Overall, we do see that the monsoons are on the horizon, and that would be a good thing for us. That monsoonal activity, which may be here by the end of the week, will help us to contain the fire, slow its progress, and hopefully keep within a footprint that it is close to now, and not force us to have to put fire in and around the infrastructure up in this area. So with that, I'll be available for questions afterwards, and we'll turn it over to the next speaker.
so this is it, huh? Our evacuation. How you doing?
Okay. The alert, I guess, went out last night sometime.
Yeah, I just talked to Bill Brown of the fireman, and he was saying that they were thinking about doing a back burn. That's why they want to get everyone out of here, because if they start the back burn, it could turn bad on them.
Right. Yeah, that's new to us.
Yeah.
We're still waiting
that's
on
a little inside information. I was hearing, and I go, oh my God.
All right. Yeah, the fire department's giving a briefing to some of our people down at the bottom, so we're waiting to hear what that's all about.
Well,
still.
Be safe, man.
All right.
Be safe.
So,
Be up here.
What's a good phone number to reach you guys at if we need to?
312-9974. My cell phone.
Okay, cool.
Yeah. All right.
You guys take care.
Have a good day.
Thank you. Your dad is calling.
Okay, answer. Call it. Just talked to the sheriffs. He had no information to give us. Actually, I gave him some information about the back burn. He told us that they might do a potential back burn. That's kind of scary, but they said that that's one of the reasons why they're making sure to evacuate all the people. Yeah, because if they start a back burn and it turns around in their face, then they'd be responsible. But it's a little late to be doing a back burn, in my opinion. But whatever. Oh, here we go.
That will go on for the foreseeable future. We've already had it scheduled at least through the next couple of days, and we will continue for longer. And again, I'll be available after if you have any questions.
Thank you. I do just want to acknowledge we are having some technical difficulties with the online live stream. I think we're back on track, so we'll do our best to keep that going throughout the meeting here tonight. Our next speaker is Jeff Guthrie with the Pima County Office of Emergency Management to talk about the county's emergency alert system.
Good evening. This morning at 6 o'clock we activated the hard evacuation, so that means that everybody was asked to evacuate now. And I think by now I'm sure got most everybody out of the house, which is good then. Now we need to get everybody back into their homes. And the way we're going to do that is we're going to have everybody registered with Everbridge. It's a Pima County's mass notification system. This is how we're going to be able to notify you that it's okay to go back home. Put your cell phone number in here with your email, that type of information. If you haven't already signed up for it, there's flyers on the back tip here. Please grab one on the way out so that we can notify you. If you don't have a cell phone number in there or an email address in there, we can't notify you. Then the only other way we can get to you is a home phone number, and that's not going to work here tonight. So please put your cell phone number in there. Pass these out to all your friends and family. This is not just for this fire. We use this for all of our incidents in the county. We've got an opportunity to enroll up to 1 million people in here, and we want to fill it up. So please grab one on the way out and register. And I'll be available also for questions.
Thank you. So those forms for how to sign up for the emergency alert system are here on the table when you came in tonight. That information is also on InsyWeb. On the right-hand side, there's a link to where to go to sign up for the Pima County emergency alerts. If you have any questions about that, the phone numbers are on the flyers and on InsyWeb for how to reach the county for that information as well. So I know at the end of the video, I want to let our folks online know we will be posting the recording will go up after the fact, so if you're having issues, something to be able to view the recorded version as well. So to give us kind of the other perspective, I want to introduce our district ranger here on the Santa Catalina Ranger District of the Coronado National Forest, Ken Bourne.
Good afternoon, everybody. Thank you for coming out. I'm here representing a federal land management agency. I know there's a certain impression that comes along with that. But as many of you know, I'm a local Tucsonan. I was born and raised here. Our instant command post is at the high school I went to. And I say that because incidents like this is a concern to me deeply, just like it is with you all here today. So I want to let you know that BJ's instant command team has done great work since they assumed command yesterday. And I assume and am confident in the fact that they're going to continue to do a great job in the days to come. So We are really encouraged by the developments here today, and I do think the weather is on our side. Continue to be encouraged by that and see how the next few days goes. Certainly anyone in the community that has any questions, feel free to contact me directly or the community itself. So with that, I'll turn it back over.
Thank you, Ken. So to close us out here this evening, I'd like to introduce our incident commander for the Southwest Area Incident Management Team B-Day. All right, good evening, everyone. I met with many of you last night at Mt.Lemmon at the fire department. When I left there, I said that we wouldn't be evacuating a non-police last night. When I came back down, the mountain things have changed, and that's just reality of the environment that we live in. It's very dynamic. And the reason that we evacuated is that the highway is going to be one of our main control filters for that fire. And we want to make sure that we give our firefighters the safest environment to operate in. And to do that is to make sure that we can at least get you, get the people off the mountain, and alleviate the traffic that's going to be on that area. I appreciate the patience and the understanding as we work through this issue over the next week, so we can at least get some significant moisture on the fire. And with that, this is our critical part of the fire season. We're right before monsoon, it's the driest, and it's also the most deadliest with the conditions out there. And you know, it just depends on where the thunderstorms develop and where it's going to impact the fire as far as pushing winds. So I appreciate the patience as we work through this, and we'll try and get this contained as quickly as we can. Thank you. Thank you. So at this point, we're going to go ahead and open it up for some questions and answers here. And again, if we have a question that we can't get to, we'll come up and be available to meet with you at the MAPS following the meeting until we get those questions answered here in person. And again, we're also monitoring our online questions tonight as well. So any questions here in the audiences this evening? Yes, ma'am. So what we're here tonight is to focus on the current purpose of the fire and where we're at. So what I'd like to do is potentially tie in with the local district here to talk about some of the Aspen Fire Star area and what the Forest Service is doing in that area. So we'll have representatives available to meet with you after the questions to make sure we're addressing your concerns. Yes, sir.
You have a fire department that you're going to go north from the county highway, or you're going to need to go to the control road as it was in the fire
So the question was, where do we plan to hold the fire on the north side? Is that correct? On the northwest side. What is our control feature plan on the northwest side of the fire?
So with the fuels that are out there, we more than likely will be using the Catalina Highway and the control road. Those are the real only accessible places that we can get our firefighters into. We've evaluated the different ridge lines that come off of the Catalina Highway, and we just don't feel it's a safe place to put our firefighters in the current conditions, as dry as it is, as hot as it is, and with the potential for the fire to move around with thunderstorms coming in. The threat of the thunderstorms coming over and the outflow winds that can exceed 50 miles an hour are a real concern for us and where we expose our firefighters to. So right now our plan is to use the Catalina Highway and the control road as our final control features. And if the weather changes, we'll evaluate those conditions and see if we can keep the fire in a smaller footprint.
Okay, now, and I'm going to go back to your question and have the district manager address your concern.
Sure, I think the question was, what are we doing in terms of planning for vegetation treatment in Marshall Gulch? So we've been working on what's called the Catalina Recon Fire Seed Plan for a number of years now. We're getting very, very close to having that plan finalized. The number one priority project under that plan is vegetation treatment in the Marshall Gulch area. So we just recently executed an agreement with the state of Arizona to provide support on that project, and we'll continue to be funding that agreement in the years to come. That project entails 2 different phases. The first one doing thinning and pilot, and then we're going to come back and do a broadcast burn to clean up some of that dead fuel. So at the end of the day, it'll have a fuel break all around Marshall Gulch, and I'm really confident that that's going to provide an extra layer of protection for continued summer rain.
Thank you. Other questions? Yes. So the question was, what's the reasonable time frame for how long do you expect to be out of your homes before you can return home back up the mountain?
I can't give you a time limit right now. Yeah, we need to get some significant moisture on the fire, so when we pour it out, that we do have that moisture on that. We're confident that the fire's not going to continue spreading out towards Summer Haven. That we will get you back into the homes as well.
Yes, ma'am.
I just wanted people to know I did evacuate the post office. I talked with several of my locals, but the Fort Walton post office is on Grant Road between Costco and Target. There's a Dutch door.
It's a need to address that through better education and better awareness of that issue. Fires are caused by expanding gas fires. So I can tell you that we stay pretty active on doing that work, and we will continue to do that throughout the remainder of the season. So we've been under stage 2 fire restrictions for a couple weeks now, which basically means that the entire forest you do not have a campfire. You can use propane gas grills in developed areas. And so we're going to continue to keep those closure areas, that closure order in place until we get substantial precipitation.
Thank you. Other questions? Yes, sir.
Yeah, how close is this fire to Willow Canyon right now? Any way to reach Willow Canyon?
So the question was, how close is this fire to Willow Canyon, and how likely is it to get there?
So right now the fire is approximately 1.5 miles from the Willow Canyon entrance along the Catalina Highway. We have crews that are in there evaluating all of the residences and the infrastructure, doing preparations around that. Our control feature is the highway, so we don't anticipate that fire will get into Willow Canyon area, but we are in there doing preparation work and being ready in case we get spot fires or the fire does get across the highway, that we'll be prepared to engage the fire in that area and do point protection on those structures.
Thank you. Yes, sir.
Is 185 people the most we're going to get working on this fire?
So the question was, is 185 people the most we're going to have assigned to the fire?
No. Actually, we've been ordering in resources. I would anticipate that we will. Firefighters will be about 500, 600 people. It just takes time. We've had a lot of fire activity within Southwest. The Goodwin fire is just wrapping up. If you know where that's at, up on the by Prescott. So there's a number of resources that are out there. We also have, we need to get firefighters rest. So usually they're out for 14 days. Then we need to get them home so they can get some rest. And we're running into some of those issues too. So but there's a number of resources that are out.
It's for you, basically, looking at massive growth in the short period of time of this fire. What constitutes moving it up to a level that will bring in more assistance to fire? And how big does it have to get to become more of a priority over, I know that Graham has problems, but we could too.
Understood. I understand your. So the question is, how big does this fire have to get before we get more resources? All right. Oh, this is good. Okay.
I will tell you that this fire has moved to #1 priority. It doesn't mean that we don't have enough resources right now. If you know that area, there's only one area in that we really good at assessing how many resources that we need, and I assure you that we've been getting everything that we've been asked.
Yes, sir.
You mentioned that you're going to use the Mt.Lemmon Highway as a control point and the control road. Are you talking about the back road of Mt.Lemmon that goes through South Canyon? And if so, what are you doing to limit the access of that road by people coming up from Oracle? And finally, again, you have a lot of aspen trees down on that side of the mountain. That's awfully close.
So, okay, the question was, we talked about using the Mt.Lemmon Highway as a control feature, and then the control road, which goes down the back side of the mountain into Oracle. So to answer your question, that road is closed currently. So both directions coming up to Mt.Lemmon are currently closed in part of that area. So that is part of the current closure. I'm not sure I answered the second part of your question, but we'll be available afterwards to speak with you to make sure we get to that. Yes? Yeah, so the question was how many air tankers and how many helicopters do we have working on the fire?
We currently have 5 helicopters assigned, 2 Type 1, which are the largest helicopters, 2 Type 2, which are the mediums, the Bellevues, many of you know those from war movies, and then 1 light helicopter, so an A-star. The air tankers that are assigned, we don't actually get air tankers assigned to this specific fire, as they're a national resource and their top priority is initial attack. So they are stationed strategically throughout the region. Currently there are 4 down in Fort Huachuca and there are 3 in Phoenix. And we've been able to get access to those air tankers throughout the incident.
Thank you. Other questions? Yes, ma'am. The question was, is there anything foreseeable in place in terms of protecting the community?
So all of the residences and infrastructure that are on top of the mountain are being assessed by our fire crews for the threat that they may be under, so that depends on which side of the highway that they're on, and then we're doing some preparation work, and we're working from the closest point of the fire to the farthest point away from the fire. So we begin to move into Summer Haven over the next few days and evaluate. Most of our efforts are going to go towards preventing the fire from getting into the houses on the south and west side of the Catalina Highway. So our efforts are going to look at keeping the fire north and east of the highway. And then for everyone that's here, you can always go to the Arizona State Forestry website, look at the FireWise instructions, and you can do a lot of work around your own houses to clear brush, to remove some trees, and prepare your house on your own so that when firefighters get there, if we do have a fire, it's less work that they have to do to protect your house.
Thank you. And those tips for how to do FireWise, we have some of those on the table here tonight, and there's also a link on YouTube on the right-hand side to that information. Yes, sir.
Are we supposed to personally clear out our houses if every road going up there is closed?
So the question asks, how are we supposed to clear our houses if every road up there is closed? And I think the question is, if the road is closed at this point, we're not going back at this point. It's really if you're out of that area, but elsewhere in the community, it's just a general principle that this is fire season, and we're encouraging everyone to take FireWise actions while they have the opportunity to. Yes, ma'am.
We just talking about, I'm sorry, I don't remember the person's name, about all the fighters and the people smoking. Do they get fined when you catch them? Is there a way to make this hurt people's pockets so they'll quit doing it? I mean, maybe
Yes, so the question was, if folks have campfires or smoking during fire restrictions, are there penalties? And the answer is yes. And we have that information. The restrictions are on the pack table here. You can get a copy of that. That information is on EasyWeb. And so there are stage 2 restrictions in place across Southeast Arizona. So it's those are enforced.
And so you do have fines for them, they actually get? Like,
Yes, there are fines. If you have them, there are fines.
But do they have to just be caught by the sheriff or the volunteers? Or?
So there's are fines in place when the fires link back to some of those folks can be charged or be liable for the cost of that wildfire. And so there are significant implications of that. So going into this holiday weekend, fireworks are never allowed on public lands here in southern Arizona, so please keep that in mind. And please visit the fire restrictions information to make sure you don't want to be the one responsible for starting the next wildfire. Thank you for that. Other questions? If I'm missing anything, please raise your hand. Thank you.
This is the second major fire that the village and the area out there. It's coming from an area where a lot of people are camping and living with each other. I just wonder if there's something that should be done in that area to help reduce this happening again.
So the question was, are there ways to help reduce this from happening again? And so I think at this point, our focus is suppressing this fire. So looking at this fire here, so we want to remind people those restrictions are in place and looking to prevent any additional starts, one less sparking, one less wildfire. So we'll continue to push that messaging and help get that out there. If you firefighters in the sky, the folks on the ground, but sometimes it's too smoky, it's obscure. So there's a variety of different map resources, but that interactive one is going to be the best one throughout the day based on the intel that we have. Long answer to that question? Okay. In the front here. So the question was the estimated size of the fire now. 14,000. 14,000 acres. Yes, ma'am. So the question was on the map, what do the curved lines indicate?
So that's how we break up the fire into geographic areas, and we call them divisions. And so each of those curved black lines designates an area of the ground that our forces are responsible for. And so we have a division supervisor in that area, and they're responsible for that piece of ground. They come up with a plan and implement the plan with the resources that are on the ground. They also develop how many resources they need. So that's a way for us to delineate to our firefighters what chunk of ground they're responsible for.
Thank you. Okay, and one more smoke. I see two in the front there.
I just wanted to say, I speak for everybody, thank you for your service. Thank you for keeping us up to date and being proactive about that. And thank you for protecting our community and our homes. Thank you.
Well, we thank you for your support. This is really a community effort. We're here to help suppress the fire, but we're working together with all of our partners. And I can assure you, we're just the folks up front here, but we will take that back to the folks on the ground, to the boots on the ground that are working the long hot days out in the field, and pass that message on. And anything you can do, any signs that you post out in the community, signs on social media, if you want to write thank you letters to the firefighters, you can get them to us at our instant command post, and we can help get those out for the firefighters to see when they come through and eat, and pass that on, because those little words of appreciation really mean a lot to our folks on the ground. Thank you. Someone else on the pink. Where is the incident command post? Our incident command post is at, help me, which school? Sabino High School, thank you. So we're at the Sabino High School. There's a fire information post there, so you're welcome to stop by, meet with our information officers there. If you have questions or signs, follow the big warning sign and fire information, and you can find us there. And in the back.
On the interactive map, it's very nicely drawn the perimeter on it, and there are also the dots that you refer to that you can click on, and it shows the duration and the key dots. Is the perimeter more accurate than the dots? Because there are dots outside the perimeter.
The perimeter is the same as this map that's produced in the morning, typically, and then the dots just to grow throughout the day, and then that one's updated. So that's the one with the dots. This map is kind of the base layer, and then the dots are throughout the day, and those are more current than the perimeter. The other interactive map has the current perimeter throughout the day, or is close to when we get that update. So it's not updated necessarily, every hour, but if we get significant updates, it may be updated throughout the day. Generally, it's going to be probably in the evening at the same time, but based on that layer information. But that map does not show the dots. So if we're call. We can walk you through it. And our goal is to make the paper copies available because I think this is sometimes the easiest to see. And I know it's hard to see on the screen here, but this map's posted on the wall. This map is also posted on the Maps tab on InsyWeb. Yes, sir. So the question is, when is the next meeting going to be? And at this point, because of the holiday tomorrow, we do not have a meeting scheduled tomorrow. Depending on the fire activity, if there's a significant change in activity, we'll reassess that. We will be posting video updates on InsyWeb and on the social media channels tomorrow to give you updates throughout the day. And then we'll reassess the need for the next meeting, so it'll probably be the following day.
Does that mean that more and more people believe that these are chemtrails?
Well, as a Tucson resident heading the movement here on chemtrails.
They're spraying barium and aluminum powder.
Signs around town that tell you to Google what's in the sky or what. Gentleman tonight who leads the Tucson group, he really believes it. He really does.